Hi, this is Sean. Welcome to Guitar Reference Guide. In today's lesson, I'm going to be taking you through the classic tune Footprints by the late, great Wayne Shorter. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about playing this tune, whether you were going to go to a jam session or you're going to just play with someone. In today's lesson, topics covered will be the intro, the head, the chords, soloing strategies. If you know your minor pentatonic skills, you'll be able to take a solo through this entire tune and sound great. So we're going to talk about pentatonic strategies. I'm going to teach you about the Dorian scale. For C minor 7 and F minor 7, we're going to go through melodic minor scales. That will apply to C minor 7 and the chords over the bridge. And we're going to talk about some really cool things you can do with enclosures, chromatics, and phrasing. If you like what you see in this video, I've created a PDF. Click the link below, it'll take you to my website. There you can download the PDF. I've also created a jam track that'll be really helpful when you're practicing the tune. We have a lot to do, so let's dig in, and thanks so much for visiting me at guitarreferenceguide.com. Let's get into it. Okay, a couple quick things before we dig in. Footprints is in 6/4 time, so we're going to be counting it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standard 12-bar minor blues with a really hip turnaround. The chords and the turnaround are amazing. We're going at about 174 BPMs if you look at quarter notes, and it has a medium swing feel. So I'm just going to play through the intro and break it down for you. Here we go. I'm going to count it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Okay, so there I'm playing the bass line, and then I'm playing that little piano hit that is the C note. So I start with the pickup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We play the G on the and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is when, on the 6th beat is when I'm hitting the C note, and that is what you're hearing on the piano. So here I'm playing a G, C, G, C, E flat, C, and then that repeats 2 times. Then I'm going to play the C minor 11. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you could play either one of these parts. I played both of them together, so it had a little bit of variety. And that works great if you're just playing with one other person. But if you're playing in an ensemble, what would work really well is either just playing the bass line or just playing the chords, especially if you already have a bass player. So that is the intro. Now we're going to dive right into the melody. The melody, I'm going to play this in 2 different octaves. We're going to start up at the 11th fret of the B string. And I'm just going to play through it and then break it down for you. We're going to have... So what's happening here is I'm playing over the Dorian scale. It's all coming out of the Dorian scale, which is a B flat major scale, but I'm starting and ending on C. That will be the Dorian scale. That's where the melody's coming from. So here I'm playing at the 11th fret of the B string, and I'm going to strike this a total of 4 times. 2, 3. And then I'm playing the C. Then I'm coming up to the A with an upstroke. And then now I'm going to go back to the B flat. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Here I'm playing 5 notes in the place of 3. So this is kind of like, this is essentially playing, you're playing quarter note triplets. And then I'm doing this trill here. So the quarter note triplets have this real staggered sound. And then I'm doing a trill at the, so here I'm playing 11, 10, 8 on the B to the 10th fret of the G. And then when I get to the 7th fret of the G string, I'm going to do this trill where I'm hammering on and off of the 8th fret. And then I'm ending on the C, the 5th fret of the G. And I do this 3 times. Now I'm going to play the same phrase but an octave lower. So now I'm going to come to the 3rd fret of the G string, and here we go. And there's those, the triplet, the quarter note triplet feel. And then I do the trill here twice. So here I'm playing 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Now I'm going to go to the 8th fret, and this is where the quarter note starts. The quarter note triplet. 5, 3, 5, 3. Then I'm going to come down to the 3rd fret on the G, to the 2nd fret. 5th fret of the D, 3rd fret of the D, 5th fret of the A, and then here's my trill. So I'm hammering off of the 6th fret of the A string, 5 and 6. Now for the bridge part, what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb and I'm going to play octaves here. So here I'm going to play, the melody is going to be, if I played it without the octaves, it would sound like this. So here we're playing 7, 7, 7, 7, 10. Then I'm going to 8, 6, back to the 8th fret, 8th fret on the high E string, and then I'm going to do a chromatic line here starting on 8, targeting the 6th fret, which is going to be my 11. So if I was to play that phrase using my thumb and playing octaves, I think it sounds really cool. It varies it up a little bit. Same melody note, but I'm playing octaves. I like to use my thumb. So here we go. Same thing, but I'm just playing the octave now. To play the octave, 4th fret on the G, 7th fret on the high E. Ooh. Up to the 10th fret, back to the 8th fret, 6th fret, back to the 8th fret, 8th fret, chromatic line, 8, 7, 6. And when I say the fret, I'm referring to the highest fret, the highest note within the octave. So one more time, really slow. That was pretty bad. Let me do that again. that gives us our melody. Now we're going to move into chord basics. So here, you could play a C minor 7, even though they have C minor 11. C minor 11 sounds really cool. And if you were to stack that, that sounds even cooler. But let's just start with the basics. I'm going to play this chord here, so I'm playing my 1. Here is my 11. Here's my flat 7, and here's my minor 3. And I like to use the pick on the lower strings and my fingers on the higher strings. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to move all the way up to the 8th fret. Playing the exact same shape. Then I come back. Now here's the gold. Okay, now for the bridge, this is one of the hippest parts of the whole tune. So many controversies about how to play this, but I think this is going to work. This is definitely the right way. I'm going to start with each one of these chords also just gets 3 beats. So I'm just going to play through it and then I'll break it down for you. So we're going to start with an F sharp minor 7 flat 5, 9th fret, 10th fret, 9th fret, 8th fret. That's my 1, my flat 5, my flat 7, my minor 3. Now here is my F9 sharp 11. So here I'm playing my 1, there's my sharp 11, there's my flat 7, there's my 9. And the frets would be 8, 7, 8, 8. Hendrix chord with a flat 5. So here's my E7, sharp 9 flat 5. This would be my 7th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, and 6th fret on the top. That'll be the flat 5. And then this is the augmented chord. You can play a lot of different altered chords for this one. And that will be my A7 plus 5. So that's my sharp 5 right there. And then it goes right into the C minor 11, which you can play like that, or I like playing it like this too. This also sounds really good. So this voicing would look like this. Here I'm playing 8th fret, 8th fret, 8th fret, and 6th fret, and this would be my 1, my flat 7, my minor 3, and my 11. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here I played the augmented chord with adding the A on the 5th fret of the low E string, so that also works good. You could also add the 5 on the top, and that would be the bridge. Okay, so for soloing strategies, the first thing we're going to address is using the pentatonic scale. So here I'm going to use the C minor pentatonic scale and an F minor pentatonic scale. Now, something very notable to keep in mind is the only difference between these two scales is one note. On the C minor, we have a G. On the F minor, we have the A flat. So when the chords make that change, if you hit that A flat and you play all the same notes, you're going to have F minor, and that's going to let the listener know, hey, I'm on the F minor chord now. So I just recorded real quick on my looper those two chords going from the C minor to the F minor, and you're going to hear the difference in my phrasing when I go to the F. I'm just going to hit that A flat, and you'll hear what an impact it has. Here we go. C minor pentatonic. Here we go. There's my A flat. Everything else is the same. Now I come back to my G for the C minor. I'm going to do it one more time. Now I'm going to do the lower octave. Where's my A flat? There it is. Back to my G. So as you can tell, that works really, really well for navigating through that part of the tune when you're going from the C minor 7 to the F minor 7. Hits the F minor 7. play the F minor pentatonic scale. A quick hack is to get to that A flat note and keep all the other notes the same. Now, for the bridge, the chords, we went through the chords already. Now, a great way to solo over this would be over the first part to really think about the melody. And if you just play B minor pentatonic over this part, over the first bar, that's going to work well. And then over the next bar, if you go back to the C minor pentatonic, but you start on the G note, and you kind of keep the melody in mind, that's going to help you navigate through that part really, really well. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record the chords on my looper, and then I'm going to give you an example of that. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to start, so over this part, we're going to start with B minor for the first two chords, and then we're going to go to the C minor pentatonic starting on G. Here we go. Do that again. Here we go. B minor. So if you keep the melody in mind, that's going to help a lot. Here we go. Lower octave. Last time. So there what we did is we went from the B minor pentatonic. Then we went back to the C minor pentatonic scale, but instead of starting from C, we're starting on the G, and that ties into the melody. And that's the melody. So if you think about that, that's going to work really well. So there's my C minor pentatonic right next to the B minor pentatonic in a different position. So there's my B minor. Then I come over to the C minor. And then ending up on the 11 works really well. And that will be using the pentatonic scale for navigating the chords of footprints. Okay, so now we're going to explore the Dorian concept for soloing over footprints. So we're going to look at the C minor 7 chord, and the Dorian scale is going to look like this if I was to just play through it. And what you'll notice here is the Dorian scale is just a B flat major scale starting on the 2nd degree of that given scale. Here's my B flat major scale. Here's my Dorian scale. Start from the 2nd note of a B flat major scale and end on the octave, and that's going to give you your C Dorian scale. Then when it goes to the F minor 7 chord, or the 11, we're going to look at the same concept for F minor. Here would be my F minor Dorian scale. And then here would be my E flat major scale. That's the parent key of F Dorian. Only difference is we're starting on an F. So once again, the main difference here is that one note. So if we look at this note, the A is going to be what we use when we're soloing using the C Dorian scale. There's the A. And the A flat is what we're going to be using when we're soloing over the F Dorian scale. There's my A flat, not my A. All the other notes are the same, basically. So essentially, it's the same concept as the pentatonics, but now we have 7 notes instead of 5 notes. So I've recorded a little backing track here with my looper, and I'm just going to give you an example of how to use these 2 different scales in time. Here we go. We are going to start with the C Dorian, and then I'm going to cue you when we go to the F Dorian. Here we go. C Dorian. Using the A note. Then when it goes to the F Dorian, I'm going to use an A flat. Then I come back to the A note. Do that one more time. So the goal here is when you're playing over both of these scales, first just get really comfortable with the shape. And then recognize to make this shift, an easy way to do that is just look at that one note. All the other notes will be the same. There it is. So you can hear the shift. One more time. Here we go. C Dorian. Now I go to the F. There's my A flat. Then I'm back to the C. So as you can tell, that works really well. So once again, here's my C Dorian scale. Here's my F Dorian scale. And you can use both of those scales when soloing over that first part of footprints, and when it hits the turnaround, stick for now with the pentatonics. We're going to get into the melodic minor ideas next. Hope that. Okay, so now we're going to go a little bit deeper and get into the melodic minor concepts. This is going to be a little bit more tension-based, a little more colorful, but this is going to sound extremely cool. So the first thing we're going to start with is the standard melodic minor scale. Construction is going to be 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So it's really just like a minor scale on the bottom and a major scale on the top. So over the C minor 7, that's what you're going to play. You play that in a couple different positions. Move up to the next position. Then if I was to play it here. It's going to work great. Then the next thing that we're going to do is over the F minor. You can also play melodic minor there if you wanted to. However, because the major 7 here is the major third of C minor, it clashes a little bit. So I would probably just stay using F minor pentatonic or F Dorian, however the F melodic minor scale would work. So let's, I'm going to put on the track, and then I'm just going to give you an example of how it sounds. Here we go. Now if I play melodic minor, so it doesn't work as well over the F. One more time. I'm going to play in a different position now. I'm going to move up here. Okay, so now I'm going to play, give you an example in this position, 8th fret. Now I'm going to go to F, just play minor pentatonic or Dorian. Back to melodic minor. So as you can tell, it has a much more exotic sound to it. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. Over the bridge, we're going to have 3 different melodic minor scales that we're going to use from different points of that given scale. So over the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, we are going to play an A melodic minor. However, we're going to start from the F sharp note, the tonic of the chord. This is going to give us our Aeolian flat 5 scale. Then when we go to the F9 flat 5, we are going to be playing, it's called a Lydian flat 5 scale. Or no, over the F7, or over the F9 flat 5, we're going to be playing a Lydian flat 7 scale. Which is basically the same thing as a C melodic minor. So we're using that same C melodic minor scale we just learned earlier, but starting and ending on an F note. Same scale. Then when we go to the C7 sharp 9 flat 5, you're going to just use your standard altered dominant scale for E, which is an F melodic minor scale, starting and ending on E. And then when we go to the A, we are going to be playing, or no, that would be the sharp 9. For the A, we're going to play an we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play an A altered dominant scale, which would be the same as a B flat melodic minor. And that would be the scales that you use over the bridge. So now I'm going to give you an example of that. Cool thing about this is that you could do it even without the chords, and you'll kind of hear the chords a little bit. So here we go. So there I played each of those melodic minor scales as the chords were moving by. Now I'm going to do it with the looper. Here we go. Aeolian, flat 5, Lydian, flat 7, E altered dominant, A altered dominant, back to the C. One more time. Altered dominant, and then we're back. So this takes a little bit of practice, this one. It's definitely a little more difficult to be changing quickly like that through those changes. But it sounds really good. So if you put the work in, it's totally worth the effort. Okay, so now we're going to talk about using chord tone / arpeggios. For the C minor 7 chord, we're going to have a 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, and 1. Then for the F minor 7, we're going to have the same thing. There's my 1, my flat 3, my 5, my flat 7, my 1. And then we go back. For the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, we're going to have 1 flat, we're going to have 1 minor 3 flat 5, flat 7, and 1. Then for the next one, for the 9 with the flat 5 or sharp 11, we are going to play 1. We're going to start with the dominant 7 with a flat 5, so we'll have 1, 3, flat 5, flat 7, and 1. Now if you wanted to throw in the 9, that would sound like this. Add the 9 before you go to the 1. And then we're going to, that would be for the F9 sharp 11. Then for the E7 sharp 9, the Hendrix chord, we could play like a standard dominant 7 arpeggio on the bottom. 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Now we're going to have 1. Now here's the sharp 9. Here's the flat 5. And then there would be the flat 7 right there. So that would sound like this. Standard, dominant 7 arpeggio, sharp 9, flat 5, flat 7, 1. So that would sound something like this. And then a cool thing you could do would be the tritone of A7 would be the E7. So you could just play a regular arpeggio for E flat 7 there. But if you were to go to the dominant one, I think that a great one to play here would be the augmented one. So here you could play 1, 3, sharp 5, flat 7, and 1. I think that's going to work well. You could also play just a regular dominant arpeggio, and that'll work fine because these chords are built on top of the bottom. So if you have a hard time with those, that would also work. So here's an example. Arpeggios. Now here comes the F. Back to the C. So then the last thing that we're going to discuss is phrasing ideas. One thing that you probably hear me do a lot is sliding into the notes, because that's such an easy, effective tool that you can use over any of it. So if you were going to targeting a note, start from above or below that note, and that's a great way to kind of embellish the sound. So if I went, instead of just going, and that's going to tie us into the next thing that we talk about. So using sliding is a great way to create the phrases. The other thing is to create a group of notes together and then take a little break. Give the music some space. So once you come up with an idea you like, don't be afraid to stop playing, because the space in the music is extremely important. It's just as important as the notes. So the next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is enclosures. Enclosures work really well, especially when you've gotten pretty good at targeting your root notes and different notes and the chord tones. Say I wanted to go to the C note, but I wanted to get there from going above or below. That's going to create some tension and release when I hit that note. So one of the ones that I like to use is going a whole step above, coming down a chromatic line, and then going below a half step and coming back to my note. So this is a really common, cool enclosure. You start on the end. That way you would end up right on the target on the beat. I could do that. So say I wanted to get to this note, do the same thing. So to give you an example of how that would sound like over the chords, here's my target. That was just an enclosure using the scale. So going from above and below and targeting the note. And there's no really rules when it comes to doing this. With the PDF, I have a whole array of exercises that give you different examples of them. That was just a couple. Okay, so the last thing we're going to discuss is a really cool concept that we can use for comping and for soloing. We're going to talk about stacking fourths. Now to do this, the first thing we have to understand is we're going to take whatever chord voicings we have and we have to relate them to the key of the song. So if we're looking at the Dorian scale, we have to think, okay, that's in the key of B flat, because we want to look at all these available chords. So if I was to look at my C minor 7 chord in the key of B flat, and I took my 5 and I moved it down to the next scale tone, that would give me a sound that has my 4 instead of my 5, and it's a much cooler, I wouldn't say cooler, it's a much easier sound to move around. So then if I move down to the next one, it would look like this. You can tell the tonality is a lot different from your standard minor 7 chord. and it's a lot more movable. So the main thing here is just looking at your harmonized major scale, looking at each one of the chords, taking the 5th and moving it to the 4th. So here was my minor 7, here's my B flat major 7, here's my tonic, there's my 1, there's my 5, my scale tone will be here, so I move that down. There's my 1, there's my 4, there's my 7, and there's my major 3. And then if I keep moving down, the next one would be my A minor 7. That would be, if I was looking at, or A minor 7 flat 5. So if I move down to the next scale tone, I take my flat 5 and I move it to 4, and that will be my voicing here. I move down a whole step and it's going to be the same. There's my G minor 7 chord. That would be my relative minor. I take the 5 to 4, and that's what I would have. And I move all the way down the line and it would do all the same things. There's my dominant 7. There's my F7 chord. I move the 5 to 4. E flat major 7. I move the 5 to 4. Then it would sound like that. So we have... So these work remarkably well if you are playing some lines. Now I'm on F. And then I come back. So there, I was just bouncing around with the fourths. In other words, I wasn't holding them to be accountable for that given voicing. You can kind of use them anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on how to play through footprints. I hope these concepts make it easier for you to solo over the song and give you some freedom when you're trying to improvise or come up with new ideas. Thanks so much for visiting me at guitarreferenceguide.com, and look forward to seeing you again.